Hey, you've tuned into Math with Mr. C. This time we are solving equations with integers. It's one of those lessons where we're adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. We're trying to put it all together and you will use your brain. All right, once you have your name and your date and the title, we're moving on. 3, 2, 1. Please check your homework. There are 2 pages. Here's the first one, multiplying integers. Please pause. And here's dividing. Please pause. Here's our first example for solving equations with integers. How can you solve equations with using inverse operations and properties of equality? The low temperature on Tuesday is 9 degrees Celsius higher than the low temperature on Monday. Tuesday's low temperature is shown on the thermometer. What was Monday's low temperature? All right, let's look first at the thermometer. It's at 0. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that's not right. This is 10. What do I need to count by so that I get to 10? 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That's it. So this degree is actually a 6. All right, 6 degrees. What day was that was on the thermometer? The low temperature on Tuesday. Tuesday's low temperature is shown on the thermometer. All right, so 6 degrees is Tuesday. Let's go back to the problem. Let's get more information. Tuesday's is 9 degrees higher than the low temperature on Monday. All right, so if this is higher, we're trying to get a lower number. What do I do with that 9 degrees to get a lower number that's on Monday? All right, I'm going to need to subtract that 9 degrees to get that lower number on Monday. The other way that we could have done that is it's 6. We're going to end up with a Tuesday temperature. We have Monday, and then the temperature goes up from Monday to Tuesday, and I see that Tuesday is 9 degrees higher. This is 9 degrees higher to get to Tuesday. So what is M? How do we solve that? With the clue word of Nebraska football. So we see our equation. This is one of the equations that we had. M increased by 9 equals Tuesday. So I remember the inverse of adding 9. We're trying to get M by itself to find out what it is. The inverse of adding 9 is subtracting 9. Notice how we're just doing the opposite of it. These are opposites on a number line. So when you take 9 steps forward and then 9 backwards, you don't move at all. So it's actually just M over here. But property of equality says we need to do it to both sides. So on this side we do minus 9, and on this side we do minus 9. So this is canceled out, just M. What is? Go forward 6 steps and backwards 9. So if you go forward 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you go backwards 9, what is my end result? These cancel out. And my end result is going backwards 3 minus 3. And we could check our answer by putting backwards 3 or minus 3 in for M, backwards 3, and then go forwards 9. That would be going forwards 6. You could draw a picture for that as well to make sure. You do not have vocab notes today. Here is example 1. We just have 2 problems for today for example 1. So number 1 is right here, and number 2 is right here. You may notice that one's subtraction and one's division. We're trying to remember what inverse means. So for this one, we're trying to solve for n, for number 1, the subtraction. So I see that n is minus 11, or backwards 11. What's the opposite or inverse of going backwards 11 steps? Well, that's going forward 11 steps. And if I do it on one side of the equation, I have to do it on the other. So let's go forward 11 on that side as well. This side will cancel out and just be n, and now I'm left with a problem that I have practiced previously in this lesson. This chapter, backwards 5 and then forwards 11. When you go backwards 5 and then forwards 11, you go forward 6. See how I subtracted these numbers and kept the sign of the bigger one. Bigger was 6, bigger was 11, therefore it stayed positive. Let's go into number 2. This is a division problem. R split into groups of 5 equals backwards 7 or negative 7. So what is the opposite of splitting into 5 groups, or groups of 5? Well, it's multiply by 5. And I can't just do that to one side, I need to do it to both. I know that these then cancel out, and so I'm left with R equals 5 groups of -7. I know previously from our last lesson that we're going to bring all of our negative signs over to our equals, and I only see one negative sign, and so our answer is 7 times 5, 35, and it's negative. Moving on in 3, 2, 1. Here's example 2. These are slightly different. This is a subtraction problem, and then this is a multiplication problem. Please try to do those doing the inverse of whatever's on the same side as the variable to both sides. I'm going to show you 14 in 3, 2, 1. I remember from the last lesson that if two subtraction signs are right next to each other, this is v and the opposite of backwards 11. What's the opposite of backwards 11? Well, that's going forwards 11. Or I said that like two swords, they cross and make a plus sign. So my actual problem is v plus 11 equals backwards 27. And now I'm thinking what the opposite of going forward 11 steps is. The opposite is going backwards 11 steps, and I need to do that to both sides. Now over here, the 11s have canceled out, and so we have backwards 27 and backwards 11. If you go backwards 27 steps and then backwards 11 more, you add those numbers together to find out how much you go backwards, because you're only going the negative way, and so we have negative 38. Now for 15, I read this negative 17 groups of g. I know that there's a multiplication here, although you can't see it. I know it's negative 17 times g equals 68. Now what's the opposite or inverse of multiplication? I know that's dividing, and I'm going to divide by the same number by negative 17, which means I need to divide this side by negative 17. And we're all hoping right now that this is not going to be as difficult as it might look. So the problem I know is going to have a negative sign. I know that because I only see one negative sign here. So I know it's going to be negative, and I'm writing 17 and 68. This is 68 divided by 17. So first I'd try 3. Let's see if that works. Oh, that's 51. I need to go bigger. So next, let's try 17 times 4. All right, 4 times 7, that's 28. Oh, that is it. Nice. So my answer is a lot simpler than I thought. It's just negative 4. Moving on in 3, 2, 1. Here's independent or partners practice. There are 4 problems. For each one, you are substituting a equals backwards 6 or negative 6. As you do this, look how I do it on 21. Just putting parentheses around it, just like that, carefully. And just like on 22, it should look like that. Please complete 21, 22, 23, and 24. Your answer for 21 is coming in 3, 2, 1. Here are your answers for independent or partners practice. I'll circle them to make them more obvious. Moving on in 3, 2, 1. Thank you for watching this video. Please do the Khan Academy video and practice, and then choose these options right here. Thanks for watching, and you're awesome.